got two favorite cities. One is Miami, and the other one is Berlin. And the reason why I like going to Berlin is because there's three companies we represent that are based in Berlin. And one of them is Ableton, the other one is Native Instruments, and the third is Adam Audio. And I've been very fortunate enough to go to their head offices, and I've also been fortunate enough to go to the Adam factory. Mm-hmm. And if there's one particular thing that makes the actual Adam Audio monitor stand out, a unique identity, is, I'm going to ask you, what is it?
The ribbon.
The ribbon tweeter. Extremely important. And just to put it even in more perspective, to personalize it,
Yeah.
whether you are using the most affordable Adam monitor, and up to a few years ago, there were not really any affordable Adam monitors.
Yeah.
Thankfully, now we do have an affordable range. There are a lot of people out there who've always aspired to
have
own
Adam.
a pair of Adam monitors, but simply it's remained a dream because they've just not been able to afford it.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we now have the
T-Series.
T-Series.
Yeah.
So whether it's the most affordable Adam monitor, whether it's the most expensive Adam monitor in the S-Series, and I'm talking $500,000 worth of monitor.
Yeah.
Correct? There are monitors out there that cost that amount of money. The same ribbon tweeter is used in the entire range. So when you go to the Adam factory in Berlin, Germany, you will find an area where there are a number of elderly, traditional German ladies sitting. They almost look like your grandmothers. And they are sitting at a table, and they have got in front of them rows and rows and rows of the foil that is used for the Adam monitor. And each tweeter is hand-folded using specific little apparatus which allows them to fold that tweeter to the exact measurement it needs to be. And when they folded that particular tweeter, it goes into a little box, and they start on the next Adam tweeter. All right. So that is something completely unique to Adam. So whether you're getting a monitor out of China, if it's a T-Series, an A-Series, an SX Series, it's exactly the same tweeter. So when you get your Adam monitors, just think of that little old lady that resembles your grandmother sitting there doing it. And these women, what they do is, because it's such tedious and possibly, yes, even boring work, they work on quite strict shifts. And then they go home. They rotate, and somebody else comes and does it over there as well. Yeah. So that's just my little story about the Adam range of monitors.
It's
in
pretty
Berlin
amazing.
In particular.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. It makes each speaker special, unique, different. I think if you think about sort of like factory line, each tweeter is made exactly the same per se. There's like a little bit of character in each tweeter if you were to think deeply into it.
You can do that, but I'll maybe just to make another comparison. There's another company, and they also happen to be based in Germany, and it's actually what I would regard as the heritage company of Turk Music Technologies. If you've ever sent me an email address, it is honer@hot.co.za, and that is the very first email address that we ever had in the company. And I worked for this company in Germany for a year in a little village about 20 meters away from the Swiss border, in a place called Trossingen, where the Hohner factory still exists today. And what you will find there is exactly the same thing. And it takes a certain type of mindset. You'll walk into a particular room, and the same thing. You're going to have elderly ladies sitting, and they will have in front of them not a ribbon tweeter. They're going to have the harmonica reed. Every single reed is hand-tuned. So they will sit there with the reed in front of them on top of a device that actually blows air through. So think of a sewing machine that you pump with your foot.
Yeah.
They have exactly the same thing. They have a device that actually pumps air up through the bottom, and they will take that Hohner harmonica reed plate, and they will move each reed note over that burst of air. With a little piece of metal, they will then adjust that
get it to the
read,
right
that note,
tone.
so that it's the right key. And then they'll move it across and do it and do it and do it. And when that's finished, that gets put into a tray again, and then it gets taken to the next person, who then takes it for the continued process of
Yeah.
assembling
Yeah.
that particular Hohner harmonica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually so interesting. We never actually think about what goes into some of these brands.
No. That is exactly why. It's not machine produced. You're not looking at a conveyor belt where these things are coming out
Yeah.
where they are. Yeah, and they've stood the test of times in terms of longevity.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they can mechanize the production of 99.99% of things, they're going to do so, because we have to be looking forward. We have to look at how do we make things more cost effective.
Yeah, yeah.
The reality is, labor is becoming more and more expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
But there are just some things
That you
that
just
you
can't
cannot
leave to a
not
machine.
do without.
Yeah.
And these particular things, whether it's the Hohner reed plate or whether it's the
Tweeter.
it still remains in the hands of a human being, personal.
Before you leave us, Peter,
Yeah.
just maybe one more quick story about it's obviously it's a little bit off, but the SE Electronics side of things. I know they're also like a very small family type business, and a lot of their stuff is handcrafted.
Absolutely. When we first started with S Electronics in the early 90s, and that is when we still, well, quite frankly, I think we just started getting internet and email and things like that.
Yeah.
So we used to, our Bible, our gospel was a magazine called Sound and Sound Magazine. And you can still get it today, but it's mainly subscription based, or it's mainly in a digital format. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that particular point in time, we had inadvertently handed over a particular agency to another distributor in South Africa, purely because at that time we weren't ready for it. And it was a brand called Rode Microphones.
Yeah.
And we realized our mistake a few months later, and we thought, all right, hang on a second. What are we actually going to do to be able to offer something similar to Rode?
Yeah.
And through using research and Sound and various other things, we identified two particular brands. One of them was Studio Projects, still around today, great range.
Yeah.
And the other one was SE Electronics. And we actually ended up distributing both of them side by side. These were the closest competitors to Rode.
Rode, yeah.
They were made in China, affordable. It was at that stage where we were suddenly getting these Chinese clones that were coming in that were as good, if not in some cases even better than the originals, but at a third of the price, half the price.
Yeah.
And at that time, because SE Electronics was so new, we had a gentleman by the name of James Young, who handled international distribution. British guy came across, and he kind of walked us through the whole process.
Yeah.
And he took us through a slideshow at that time. And the first slideshow he showed us was of a block of flats in China. And this block of flats had actually been turned into a mass production
Factory.
assembly plant.
Yeah.
And there you would have a bunch of people sitting in a room working on exactly the same microphones, but next to them was a box with a different brand on. And they would take that microphone and they'd say, right, it's going to go into that brand. This microphone, it's exactly the same microphone, is going to go into that box with a different brand on. And they turned around and said, the one thing that SE Electronics has, it has its own factory. And every single microphone is not OEM based. It's not a microphone that's been made in bulk to be rebranded under different brands.
Yeah.
It's made specifically for
It's
SE
built
Electronics
by SE Electronics
in the
for
SE Electronics factory.
Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
it,
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'm going to hand
Thanks
you
so
back
much.
over. Thank you.
Cool.
That's
Cheers,
it.
Peter. That's Peter Turk, the managing director, the owner, Turk Music Technologies, and our boss who allows us to do these cool things.
Yeah, these really cool streams.
Cool.
Right.
Right.
So after that really, really cool message and a little bit of a history,
History, yeah.
um,
We can get into some monitors. man.
yeah, get into our monitors. So so in the Adam range, we've got two ranges. It's going to be the T range and the A range. So A7, A5X, and then the T range being what we would call our more budget, more affordable range from Adam. Still absolutely amazing sound. One thing, what size is this?
That is a 5-inch.
Okay, so I want to
Driver.
just quickly do something that I feel would be quite cool. I'm going to put the 5-inch, is that the E5XT there? Because it's the bigger one. Let's not go and put the smaller one there. Just to show. So what we're going to quickly do is I just want to show you size difference between these two monitors. Put it this way. Have a look at the depth of these.
Mm.
So that's definitely one thing to note, is that these are a lot longer.
Yeah.
They're a little bit
Narrow.
narrow in width, but they're a lot longer.
Yeah.
And remember, we also spoke earlier about these being rear facing and the XTs being front facing.
Front-facing.
And that's to do with the base port.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to point that out straight away, is that these are a lot longer. I would definitely say that they've got a different design inside,
Yeah.
channeling the base through.
Exactly.
And that's probably the reason why we're getting
longer.
this longer cabinet.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's the well, we're not comparing them. We're just
Just pointing that out.
highlighting that one one interesting thing. Cool. As Peter said in his introductory history
His
lesson,
intro there.
you can see clearly the ribbon tweeter there.
Yeah, which was made famous by these monitors.
Yeah.
And you'll see it throughout the full range.
Yeah.
And you'll see it in other monitors as well.
Yeah.
But there's something special about the Atom version. Like Peter said earlier, is that it's hand built. And there's a lot of care taken into these products.
Yeah.
You're not just going to get a dodgy Atom speaker.
Yeah.
It really, really is fine detail and attention to detail.
Yeah. And of course, this is the T range, the more affordable range, so
Yeah.
budget range of studio
Yeah.
monitors from Atom. So
That doesn't take away
doesn't take
from
away
the
from the
performance
quality,
of it.
yeah.
To be honest, they're designed to fit into the same range as, let's say, the Eris and your other brands that are sitting in that same
the
kind
Yamaha
of
HS series,
yeah.
yeah.
When we start talking about A range and S range,
Then we're talking about
it's a different ball
really
game.
high end.
You can't really compare this range of monitors to that range.
Yeah.
We don't even need to get into that.
No, we won't. Yeah. Well, I have once compared the T7,
Okay.
the Atom T7V, with the A7X.
Okay. And
World of a difference. But I did notice that with the mid range, there was a lot more I was hearing
in the A,
in the T.
in the T.
Yeah.
Okay.
Particularly in the
That's
mid
quite
range
interesting.
in the T series, which I wasn't getting in the A series.
Okay.
Yeah. Which might just have been my imagination, but you know,
Yeah,
that
and
was
I mean,
just
it
a
can also
little
come down
experiment
to
that I did.
space.
Yeah. Yeah.
All that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah. Cool. All the controls at the back, which I mean, there's no LEDs or anything at the front. It's all one thing, no screws, nothing. It's all just a seamless build there on the front. And then at the back, you've got your XLR female input, and then you have RCA.
Here we go. And as you can see, it also, like we said, it's base ported from the back. And just to highlight what we were talking about earlier, in case you missed it, there is always a debate between front-facing and back-facing
back-facing,
base
yeah.
ports. In this scenario, like I was saying earlier, is that you would, a lot of the times, if you're setting these up right by a wall,
Yeah.
you're going to cause some issues and
issues.
some coloration in the sound that
Yeah.
you're hearing. The benefit of it a lot of the times is that you actually get an addition in dB, in volume,
Yeah.
that you'll be getting when you put it a little bit closer to the wall.
Yeah.
Now, the whole thing is that if you have this parallel facing the wall, that bass is going to hit the wall and bounce back and cause phase issues. Now, definitely one thing to think about that definitely helps with the situation is that when you turn the monitor to the side, you're actually opening up the back to dissipate in a very different way than you would normally have if it was just facing straight.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things that people might say to you, don't go rear-facing base ports or anything like that. There's ways
There's ways to
around it,
counteract it, yeah.
and there's a reason why Adam would put it at the back, because it really does sound absolutely amazing. So don't let people say to you, it being at the back is going to cause you issues. Most of the time actually will not.
Yeah.
And if you do get those problems, it's
easy
the
to
way
counteract
you've
them.
set the monitors up.
Yeah.
There's ways to sort those issues out.
Yeah.
Be it moving it away or changing the angle, which you should be doing in the first place, to be
Yeah.
honest. You're going to want like a 30-degree angle when you're using monitors.
Cool. Those and then those switches are high pass filters and low pass filters.
100%.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the basics we have kind of gone through. So
Yeah.
we're going to start going a little bit faster. But absolutely amazing monitors. Alrighty. Now we're getting a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger.
Yeah.
7-inch driver. Same monitor.
Yeah.
Bigger driver.
Bigger driver. You're still getting the base ports at the back.
Yeah.
And you're getting the same tweeter that you would be getting in the other models as well. So the ribbon tweeter, hand built, absolutely amazing.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, so when it comes to now getting bigger in size, you're going to be getting a different bass response. You're going to be getting a different sound in mids.
Yeah.
These are all things you have to take account. Like we were saying earlier, also depends on your room.
Yeah.
If you go too big, you're going to cause yourself issues. Maybe sometimes 8 inches could just be that little bit too big, because you've got a medium-sized room.
Yeah.
You can definitely look at the 7s because they tailored it a little bit differently.
I'm actually I'm gonna keep the 7 here and just show you the difference in size between the 7 and the 8.
Yeah.
Big boy.
I don't think we're going to be able to put them next.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna do that. There we go.
Okay, so you can see that they are still very similar in size, but to fit that 8-inch driver, there's definitely had to be a change in size.
And yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bigger cabinet.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. And that's the T range.
Yeah, there we go.
Sweet.
Okay, so just for a little bit of a fun show, what size is this? Is this?
This is the 3.
Yeah, A3X. So this is the 3-inch. So this is the A range. So this is the higher end range from the T.
From the T,
And you'll straight away see that there's a design difference.
Yeah.
What you'll notice is that now you've got the base ports in the front.
Yeah.
And
your
you've got
controls in the
more controls in the front.
Yeah.
Where with the T range, it's a nice, clean, simple front end where everything else is happening at the back. Where this is a little bit of both. So like we said, ribbon tweeter itself is going to be the same or similar as the T range, this range, and then going up to your S range. Let's flip it over just so we can see what's going on the back. Okay, so now we've got a little bit of a difference here. You'll see that we've got RCA ins and then an XLR. There's no quarter jack input. So it's more your hi-fi side or going straight XLR. Which is, there's no problem in that.
Yeah,
to be honest, most of the times you should definitely be going in XLR. We're going to actually get into why and some of the cables that you might be looking at and not knowing which one to actually pick for your situation.
I'm gonna turn the camera.
Are you going to turn the camera, or do you want me to pick it up?
Do you want to pick it up?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
I might break my back, but
Carl's gonna break his back, bringing the A. Yeah, he's gonna bring. Yeah, check these out, guys. These are super cool. I actually don't know why we still have them boxed and not out on display, but anyway.
Some people want to sell them.
Here they come.
Is it gonna fit? So let's get started. So you'll see there's 2 times 7-inch woofers, handmade tweeter. The tweeters are called XR tweeters. We lose a little bit of.
Okay, no, I think we're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. These are absolutely stunning. So when it comes to the monitors, most of the monitors, you'll find that they're going to have two actual drivers driving the different components.
Yes, yeah.
This unit here has
3.
Wow. Yeah, so
Actually,
you're going to actually have 3 different ones, which means that there's going to be less problems with phasing.
Yeah.
A lot easier to run, and they're going to perform a lot better for a lot longer. Okay.
Price tag on this is.
Yeah,
Wow.
it definitely jumps, but I think if you get to that point where you are a high professional,
Yeah, you have the space.
you have the space, you have the budget, you really can't get ones that are better than this.
Yeah, definitely.
I absolutely love the sound of these monitors.
Yeah.
You get, again, mid-range. The top end is also absolutely so nice and transparent.
Yeah.
It's not harsh. That's definitely one of the benefits of the ribbon tweeters.
Yeah, so
is that
across the
they
range,
don't
Yeah, you don't get like a harsh high end
fatigue when
yeah,
you're
no ear fatigue. Yeah.
because a lot of the times you're going to be sitting there for hours listening to these monitors,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean? If you're going to be hurting your ears like that, you're going to start making mistakes
Yeah.
and bad decisions.
Hearing the wrong things.
Yeah.
Just to add about buying new studio monitors, especially if you were using a certain brand and you move on to another brand.
Yeah.
It's always a good idea to create a playlist of some of your previous music, some of the music that you like to listen to.
Yeah, you like and that you
reference
know
music.
very
Yeah.
well and have heard on different systems.
Exactly, and then just listen to your playlist whenever you're not doing any work. Listen to your playlist through your new studio monitors.
Yeah,
to
and take notes.
and understand what your monitors are doing to the different frequencies.
Yeah, where you might notice before this song sounded so much bassier.
Yeah.
Then you can say, okay, cool. Maybe let me have a look. Maybe my older monitors were bassier,
Exactly.
and these are a lot more accurate, or something like that. Yeah, so definitely something to think about.
Yep.
If you are serious about what you do, these just
You
really.
need these.
Since I started working here, every time I saw these, every time I heard them, in my head I was just like, one day you will be mine.
Yeah.
Just not yet.